Well, everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer. Welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly interview show where we take some time to get to know someone's perspective on movies a little bit better. And I have my pal Adam here from SiftPop on for round three. So this is where things really get interesting. So, Adam, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me yet again. Good to be back.
We go. And one of these days when Hitchcock finally wins my tournament, then the real fun's going to begin.
Yeah, that's fine. I actually did a Hitchcock ranked list yesterday on my Letterboxd, so
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I've got a lot to talk about. Yeah,
I literally check it out. Just finished watching Sabotage. Before we started recording, so there we go.
Yeah, nice. I watched Stage Fright last night. Actually, one of his older ones that not many know about.
Nice. Well, when the time comes and I wind up doing him on my Walk to the Wasteland show, I'll watch all of them. Like I'm in the midst
74, 68 or something. He's got a lot
of them. I'm in the midst of TV movie Spielberg right now.
Yeah, I noticed.
Something Evil, which was a haunted house movie. And the movie ends with love triumphing evil. And I'm like, wow, this really is a Spielberg movie.
I'd actually never heard of that. When I saw that on your Instagram, I was like, I saw it. I was like, is that Spielberg? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's literally on YouTube. I watch it free on YouTube. It's an hour and 13 minutes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. The dad in it is the dad from A Christmas Story.
Okay, I don't think I've never seen that. So,
and also Billy Madison's dad, which was one of the first things I remembered him from.
Okay.
As a '90s kid, watched a lot of Adam Sandler. But I think this is a fun way to start off this round three interview. Is if you had a whole day open, what would be the theme of your movie marathon?
Yeah, this one was a kind of an easy but difficult one for me to answer because I have whole days open all the time now. I'm at that stage in my life. My kids are both teenagers. I don't need much looking after. I'm single. I don't do much, to be honest, because I just, I watch a lot of films. So I kind of find myself falling ass backwards into themes of movie marathons. Like, I can watch 2-3 movies a day on weekends and so forth. Last weekend is a good example. I had a day of watching films set in the 70s with the porn industry as their background. I don't know if you can guess what those two movies were. I watched X and then I watched The Nice Guys.
Was one of them Boogie Nights?
No, it was X and The Nice Guys. And I didn't even think of Boogie. I don't think I'll put Boogie Nights on while my kids can come out and watch, see what I'm watching at that time. So I'll wait till they're away sometime to watch that. I am dying to watch that again, actually. But yeah, I kind of find myself just picking up themes. I mean, the last week I've watched a lot of Blake Edwards movies from like the 60s and so forth. I did a Pink Panther and I watched The Great Race yesterday. I had a spell there on Audrey Hepburn movies. I find that I'll just sit down and I'll choose movies and 4 out of the 5 have Jake Gyllenhaal in them. So, and that happened within the last month as well. It's just bizarre how I fall into that. Until I look back, I go, oh, well, there you go. There was that thing. But if I sat down and chose, it would just have to be my favorite genres, I reckon, that I would choose. So it'd be action, adventure, or sci-fi, which are probably my 2 favorites. So I don't know what films I'd choose from those because there's so many. Probably, Indiana Jones and the Goonies or, Back to the Future. That'd be a great triple feature, to be honest, for me to sit down on a rainy day. But yeah, that's basically the long way to a short answer.
Yeah. I know a lot of the times when I do have a whole day where I literally just sit and watch movies literally the whole entire day is either on my birthday, which there's no specific theme to it besides I just watch all my favorite movies. So there's no they're just I'll watch one of the first 2 Shrek movies, one of the Lord of the Rings movies. I will watch a Mad Max movie. So at least those are there. But
that's
it
a
depends
variety,
on which one I'm feeling. It's a daytime decision. I'm like, am I feeling Shrek 1 or Shrek 2 today? But
wow.
But and I've definitely done holiday themes before. I've had Halloween movie marathons and Christmas ones and stuff like that. But I always thought this was a fun question because
Yeah.
I used to do some themed ones. Like I remember doing a day where I just watched a bunch of Kubrick films and then had some of my friends come over. That was a heavy day. There you go. It's not a lot of light film watching today. Now, I think this is an interesting one. If you had a friend who had never saw a movie before, what movie would you show them first?
I've chosen two for this, but because I want to show something basically that a movie can offer. That's something that's fun, something that is pure escapism, like the reasons that I really watch movies for, and something that looks great and sounds great. So my two picks were firstly Jurassic Park, because that still holds up amazingly well. Like, anyway, we won't get into Jurassic Park. We've spoken about it probably before. And The Matrix was my second option because that is kind of mind-blowing as well. So that can show someone who's never seen a movie how smart movies might be able to be and how those two movies offer a big spectacle that I think someone would just instantly fall in love with movies if they were the first two movies you ever saw.
And that's really interesting because they're definitely two films that are like very genre films, but like they feel like they transcend the genre to be like they are great films universally.
Absolutely.
And they really test, like, you're making a dinosaur movie. Jurassic Park doesn't just feel like a dinosaur movie.
No, it's a horror. It's a proper horror movie.
And it has wonder in it. Like, come on. The first time they see the dinosaurs out on the plane, just like, you feel something.
Yeah, mate. I tear up every time. Yeah.
And the first time Goldblum shows up, you're just like, oh my God, it's Jeff Goldblum.
And the comedy when he's sitting there posing with his shirt off and his arm up on his knee, mate, I can't help but laugh so much when I see that every time. It just makes me giggle.
Yeah.
So funny.
Oh, man. Two great picks. Now, if you could pick one film to get a sequel, what movie would it be?
Yeah, I'm not generally an advocate for picking sequels for one-off movies that are fantastic. But I do have an answer that I think is probably my best answer out of all of these questions. And as much as this is my fourth favorite movie of all time, and it's a perfect movie, it has a perfect ending, but I really want to see, it'll be a great fish out of water story to see how Truman Burbank fares when he leaves the dome. I'd love to see, because there's so many different aspects you can so many different paths that could go, like the way he would have to function in the outside world, the media scrutiny he'd be under, that circus that would be created, then his psychological torment of actually being out there in the real world, having to cross water. It would just be a mind-boggling way to. It'd be great. It'd even be a great series, honestly. But if I had to pick one, the Truman Show for sure. I'd love to see the follow-up.
Are we bringing Peter Weir back? Because I would love to see him.
Peter Weir's a genius. I love his movies. I'd love to see him back for sure.
And it's crazy to think because, like, I feel like his last big one, at least, like, that came to, like, the U.S., obviously, was, like, Master and Commander. And that was, like, 20 years ago at this point. But, like, this man, like, obviously Gallipoli's a huge film in Australia, not a huge one here. I know I went out of my way to see it because of Mel Gibson after I watched Mad Max. But like, he has Witness, Dead Poets Society, and The Truman Show, and Master Commander, and you're just like, dang, he has some amazing films. And The Truman Show, that's one of those films like I loved as a kid. Like I used to watch that a lot. And watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh my God, this movie's profound. Like
it is. It really is.
It's like it's entertaining and weird to watch when you don't see what it's really saying. But then when you're old enough to really understand what's going on, it's just like, wow. And like the ending got me so hard the last time I watched it, where they're like, oh, what's on that channel? I'm just like, that's exactly what would happen. They would just like move on to the next.
Absolutely. Change the channel. That's exactly, I love that. I love that ending because it's true. It's so true. People are like, okay, that's over. I guess we did it when we tried with Big Brother, So.
Yeah, I felt for a little bit. What's on next? And just go on to the next thing.
Absolutely.
Now, what's a film from your childhood which you haven't watched in years, but you would love to rewatch?
This was probably the toughest question to answer because we live in an age where we can watch whatever we want when we want.
Right?
So my childhood favorites, I watch often, if not once a year, at least once every couple of years. So things like that, Picture the Goonies and Labyrinth, Gremlins is in my all-time top 20. But the one I haven't seen in forever that I remember really loving as a kid, and I haven't watched it since then because I'm kind of scared that I won't like it, and I probably won't, is The Never-Ending Story. I haven't seen that for, mate, I was probably 10 or 12 when I last watched that, honestly. And I remember I loved Falcor. He was awesome. I wanted Falcor as a pet. Yeah, see, I'm jealous. I need to look it up. I do need to watch it again, but that's the answer. Because I do watch everything else that I used to love.
And as somebody who has legitimately watched this within the past couple of years, it's a dark movie. There's
Is it? Okay.
Dark parts in the, like, I would like to know the person with no soul that doesn't get emotional when our fat just gets like pulled down in the mud, and you're like, no, they're killing this horse. And legitimately, the nothing, that wolf is terrifying. I'm just like, how did I watch this as a kid? On some level. And of course, like watching Stranger Things when they started having the Never-Ending Story theme song in the most recent season, I'm just like, wow. Forgot how 80s that theme song was.
It really is.
But because like as a kid, I had on VHS a Never-Ending Story, Never-Ending Story 2, and the third one where Jack Black is the leader of a bunch of like leather jacket wearing bullies. The Nasty.
Oh, I need to see this.
It's Escape from Neverland, and like it's in the human world. Like
really?
They bring the characters into the human world, and it's so strange. And Jack Black has the worst unibrow. Like he has this best cut and a unibrow right across the front. And I'm just like watching it. I can't remember when I watched it, but I'm like, is that Jack Black? And it was. And I'm just like,
wow.
Well, I definitely didn't know who he was when I watched this as a kid.
I'm going to write these down because I need to watch this again. I really do.
I don't know what happened. I had a double pack. I guess I got rid of it at some point of the first two Never-Ending Stories. Because like they replaced all the actors in the second one.
Okay.
Like literally everybody. And also
is it good? Does it hold up?
I don't think the second one did as much. The third one, the third one is just like silly. But like I feel like the original Never-Ending Story still holds up as something like you could show a kid that it's like a little bit dark for like a kid, but like it's not going to be something that you watch as an adult. You're just like, this is stupid. So
okay. That's good to know. I mean, it was the 80s, so there was no holds barred in the 80s, right? There was just
right. Hey, I grew up watching The Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
And I was going to say one of my saddest Netflix cancellations was the series that they made of Crystal when they canceled that after one season, because they made that for us who grew up watching it, because that was like a legit like dark, intense like fantasy adventure. I'm like, this was crazy. I want more of this. And they're like, no. It's like, well, screw you, Netflix.
Netflix are canceling everything now. They're canceling all their subscribers, I think, is what's going to happen.
Well, they're like, what do we do? And HBO Max is just sitting there. Disney Plus is just sitting there, like, counting money. And Netflix is like, we don't know what to do anymore.
Well, they charge 3 times as much for the same service. It's like they keep paying $200 million for shit movies like Red Notice. Like, come on. Like, stop.
Yeah, when you spend $200 million on like, this is the most derivative action movie you could come up with, and it's just The Rock and Ryan Reynolds playing their personas, and that's it.
They're paying they're paying for the stars. They're not paying for the movie. They're just paying to say, "Oh, we've got Ryan Reynolds on The Rock on Netflix." That's just a stupid approach to take. People still want quality over quantity and stuff. It's not happening. So.
And that's why I watch HBO Max.
Yeah, I wish we had HBO Max here. We have another thing has a lot of the HBO stuff on it, but it's not full HBO Max.
Yeah, like if I talk to a lot of the SiftPop people in like America, and like I think universally most of us have come to the conclusion like HBO Max is like the best streaming service we have.
Yeah.
And then Disney Plus is like the Marvel and Star Wars machine, and then nostalgia machine. So like if you're happy with that for $6 a month, that's great. So
yeah, it is a nostalgia machine. Yeah,
I'll be watching Moon Knight's episode 6 next week. So
man, I'm really liking Moon Knight. Moon Knight's I know nothing about it, and again, I think it's probably the best Marvel show they've come out with. But Oscar Isaac is phenomenal in this show. Yeah. He's so great.
I have A Man Without Love stuck in my brain so bad, like I wind up just like. And it's funny because I knew who Engelbert Humperdinck was before Moon Knight. And now I'm just like, because honestly, when they were playing it, I'm like, is this a Tom Jones song? Because like, I am actually a big Tom Jones fan. I'm like, this sounds just like Tom Jones, but like just enough to be like, maybe it's not. And then I looked it up and it's Engelbert Humperdinck. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. It almost sounded like Tom Jones. But that's the thing. So nostalgia, watch Never Ending Story. Don't know where it's streaming though. That's an interesting question.
I'll look that up.
Now, Adam, if you could visit a place from a movie, where would you go?
These easy answers, I guess, but I guess in the spirit of the question, I want to keep it fictional because I could just, I want to go to Rome, like Roman holiday. Why not go to Rome? But no, I want to. If we stick it fictional, pardon me. Even though I'd stick out like a sore thumb, Wakanda would be awesome. What a paradise that would be! Like everyone's rich, everyone's got the best technology. It's safe. It's it's got the best of everything. But being a white dude in Wakanda probably would be an interesting.
You're like situation. Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman. I wonder if it's like everybody has a rhino. I can't.
Yeah.
Just from that was. I think Black Panther is a great film.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't in the third act of that movie when all those CGI rhinos just showed up. I'm like, wow, this movie's going.
Yeah.
But it turned into a big third act action movie. And that's how most of the MCU movies wind up going. And like, didn't expect a bunch of rhinos. So, and then rubber band people. Because that's
rubber band people.
That's basically what T'Challa and Killmonger kind of look like when they were like falling down that. When they were like full CGI. But Wakanda would be a really interesting place to go. I want to really tally how many people wind up saying they want to go see Middle Earth when I ask them this question, and then wind up seeing how much like we could get for like, can we get like advertising for New Zealand? Can they like sponsor my videos? Like I have a friend of mine who wants to get married in the Shire. I'm like, that's gonna be expensive because like we're flying from New Jersey to New Zealand, and it's just like.
I don't know if you follow Taika Waititi, but he put up a lot of videos. He was in Hobbiton recently.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that? Yeah.
Taika Waititi be like world's best dad.
Yeah. Imagine your dad writing Star Wars movies and MCU movies.
I was about to say, it's like, can you imagine having your dad be Taika Waititi?
Yeah,
I feel like he would lay in. Oh God. Oh, this just made me. This is a complete side note, but it also made me think of Jermaine Clement because, like, Taika Waititi's going around being like, "I'm a dad doing dad things," and then I remember when this made me laugh so hard. But like OnlyFans is a thing, and Jermaine Clement joked around and did Only Dads, where it's like you could pay money and I can give you reassuring compliments as your father. Just
that's a great idea too.
He put that on Twitter like sometime last year. I couldn't stop laughing. I legitimately, like, he just put like pictures of him looking distinguished with like salt and pepper beard and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh my God, this is why I love everything that you two make. Because like
Jermaine is fantastic. He is.
Well, and that's the thing, because like he's the one who really created the What We Do in the Shadows show.
Oh yeah, he's the lesser known. Yeah.
And he's so great. And like, not gonna lie, I had Shiny from Moana as my ringtone on my phone for a while.
Oh, really?
Him doing his best David Bowie as a giant sea crab. Fantastic.
There's an episode of The Simpsons where they do some Bowie as well, actually.
Well, when I went back and watched Flight of the Conchords, he legitimately was David Bowie in a dream to Brit. And I'm just like, wait a minute. So he's done this gag before.
I love how you called him Brit. Because it's Brit, but it's the Brit with the New Zealand accent. I love that.
Hey, his name is Brit.
That's good. Fish and chips.
Oh man. Now, what's a film? Speaking of like nostalgia and stuff like that, what's a film that you watched way too young?
Speaking of the 80s being the wild, wild west of, everything goes. So I grew up in the 80s, and I've got a huge list here, honestly, of movies I watched when I was too young. Let's reel off a couple, though. A couple of where I legitimately had nightmares, and I was probably, honestly, between the ages of 5 and 8 when I watched these, was The Exorcist, which is ridiculous, and A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, no.
And I was legitimately scared to go to sleep with A Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't remember ever having a nightmare about it, but I know I was legitimately scared to even fall asleep from that.
I'm an adult and I'm afraid to fall asleep after watching that.
This is my. I guess my parents just didn't give two shits about what they let me watch, because I remember I watched Porky's when I was young as well, and that's not just Animal House, movies like that. What else is here on my list? The big one though, which I don't know. I'm probably misremembering it, but I know I sat down with my mum and I Spit on Your Grave when I was maybe 10, 12, around that age. And
oh my.
It's frightening, right? That is not a movie for a 10 or 12-year-old. Yeah, I know that's... Maybe I'm outing my mum here as a really bad parent for showing me that.
Well, I know my grandfather made me watch The Godfather when I was 10 because like it was my culture. So
I don't see a big problem with that. Really, well, I guess after what I've just ruled off, I don't see a problem with much. But
well, to be fair, I definitely watched South Park when I was like 7. So like,
yeah,
that definitely wasn't appropriate for me when I was 7 years old.
I'm pretty liberal with what I let my kids watch, but I wouldn't let them watch South Park. Like they were watching The Simpsons when they were 2 and 3 and whatever.
You gotta go like Simpsons, Family Guy, and then South Park. You gotta slowly build up to that point. Like maybe throw American Dad in between like Family Guy and South Park.
Yeah.
I feel like American Dad's weirder. So like
American, since it went to TBS, I think it's better when it went to TBS because they do, throw a curse word in here or there, and they do it at the right time. And American Dad's gotten better, I think.
I feel like just Roger is enough to make that like that much weirder.
If it wasn't for Roger, then there wouldn't be a show. I mean, what a great character. I love Roger.
There you go. But like, I legitimately watched the first season of South Park when I was like 6 years old when they came out because my stepbrothers.
Yeah.
Because I remember Kenny dying 3 times in the Halloween episode and everybody getting pink eye.
Yeah. Oh man, that would have taught you some things.
Now, what's a film experience do you feel like made a legitimate impact on your life?
All right. So, as I'm want to do, this might be a bit of a long answer, but I guess growing up, my parents believe. Look, okay, I'll start from now. Now I'll do what Hollywood movies do. I'll flash forward to the future and then I'll go back. I'll,
Hey, Steve Coogan from The Other Guys.
yeah, so right now I'm an atheist, right? But growing up, I wasn't. My parents believing. We never went to church or anything like that. But I went through a public school system where we did scriptures, where I guess a local minister would come and teach us about God and this and that until that got banned. I think I was maybe in year 3, whatever that is. So I kind of believed in God, and as I grew older, I started questioning it. Like, you know, once I started to stop believing in the Easter Bunny and Santa and blah, 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 you start questioning everything else, right? So there's a couple of films I watched in my teenage years when I'd say I was maybe agnostic, when I wasn't sure either way. And it might sound strange, but what really helped me lean into full atheism is Dogma, Kevin Smith's Dogma. And I still adore that movie. Love that movie. I've seen it, I don't know, countless times, because it is that religious side of it, but it does take the piss out of religion. Even though it is saying that it's all real, it kind of help me realize, no, it's not. In my mind, I'm speaking for myself, obviously.
Yeah.
But the other one that really had more of a profound impact was Contact. And then that's another movie that's in my all-time top 20, because that is fundamentally a science versus religion.
Yeah.
Thematic. And for me, when science comes out on top in that movie, I guess because it's a Carl Sagan novel, and I read that novel after I saw the movie, etc. So yeah, those two did have a big impact on my belief system now. Even though they didn't really spell it out, but I read between the lines and what was going through my head at the time, and yeah, they were the conclusions I come to. Really, because those two films helped me come to that conclusion.
It's interesting. Like I don't recall ever seeing Contact, so like that's something I don't think I've seen. But like I remember seeing Dogma on Comedy Central for the first time. So like obviously it's the tame version of that movie.
Yeah,
but like. Being from New Jersey, Kevin Smith, good Jersey boy. And like I'm a big fan of like the View Askew like universe and stuff like that. And Dogma's so interesting. Like, because everything else is so specifically grounded. Like they're just like regular people doing regular people things at a mall or a convenience store or a fast food restaurant. But like Dogma is like something else. And it's such an interesting perspective on things. And like, you know, it's hard to get the whole Jesus. And like George Carlin as like the cardinal guy that like blesses his golf clubs and like it's just like that kind of thing. And I'm just like, see, that's the kind of crap that I have with like organized religion and stuff like that. And it's such an interesting commentary with so many different things. And it's so funny. That's the thing. Like you can just watch it and be like completely entertained, but also think about like it has a lot to say.
It really does. I mean, for me, going back a step, it actually highlights a lot of the hypocrisy, what you were just saying about George Carlin, blessing his clubs and just being, just see so much of it's just for the money, not for any. There's no real help offered. What they're supposed to be. There's no actual Christianity or Catholic morals behind their motives. It's just all greed, which is what highlighted to me, which maybe, you know, crossed the line as well. I did have another point there. Anyway, doesn't matter. Anyway, Dogma is my favorite Kevin Smith movie, and I love a lot of his films. Dogma is my favorite, but I still think Red State is his best movie, which is another religion-based film of his.
I haven't seen that one. I wish I saw that one. I wish I saw that one instead of Yoga Hosers.
What Red State is fantastic, man. Honestly, check it out. You watch it and you go, did Kevin Smith really direct this? It's not at all Kevin Smith like. It's a proper horror thriller film that. It's shocking. When I watched it, I was like, Kevin Smith did this? Like, I couldn't believe it. You can't believe it. Yeah. It's really worth checking out.
And now I'm going to watch it and be like, the guy who made Yoga Hosers made this. What?
Yeah,
I can't
you'll
get
like it.
past. I can't get past the fact that like his last movie. Well, and then the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, which like
Yeah,
I have a lot of feelings about that. Like a lot of
man,
feelings.
I've had conversations. I like Reboot more than I like Strikes Back. I think Reboot has so much more heart in it and so much more behind it, especially in those end scenes with Ben Affleck and stuff like this.
Yes,
It means a lot
like,
more to, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Strikes Back has no heart in it. That's just like a big dumb movie.
Yeah.
Big dumb movie. But like that, I think that's what frustrated me so much about Reboot. Is so much of it was like a hot mess to me. But then there was like those parts I'm just like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Because like it was funny because I'm pretty sure my fiance and I were literally the only ones in the theater watching that when I saw it. Right. And I'm just like, how do you have a scene like this amongst all this other stuff going on in this movie? Yeah. And that's the thing, like, I think it was good that Kevin Smith has kind of taken a step back for a while. Because, like, I was not excited to see Moose Jaws.
No.
Like his third Canadian trilogy movie, especially after Yoga Hosers. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm good. Just
we're getting Clerks 3 sometime this year, aren't we? I think within the next couple of months, from what I understand.
Am so excited. I'm a
huge
Clerks 2 fan. If I put on any Kevin Smith movie, I throw that in because I'm so thoroughly entertained from start to finish. I'm not saying it's his best movie, but like I have such a that movie.
That's the one where they get the donkey up from Tijuana, right? Is that
okay, so maybe
I know Rosario Dawson.
Yeah. Maybe there's one part of that movie where I'm like, I could have done without that. But like the whole shenanigans throughout the whole entire day with like the argument between Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. Honey, you can't taste racism. Because like the guy just wouldn't eat the food and Wanda Sykes just like slaps it out of his hand. Oh my god.
I need to watch that again because I remember not liking Clerks 2 because I love Clerks 1. That was a really seminal movie for me when did that come out? 94? And I was 17 when I watched that. And it just blew me away as a 17-year-old watching this movie. But then Clerks 2 came and it seemed much more grown up and it was colour and blah, blah, blah. And it was a completely different tone for this movie. And I really didn't enjoy it because I wasn't expecting it. But I know a lot of people who love Clerks 2 more than the first Clerks because I guess they saw that first maybe as well. So
I'm trying to remember. I think I saw Clerks 1 first. Like, I feel like Clerks is much more of like a meaningful, seminal, like coming of age experience. And Clerks 2 is a lot of fun. And also, I hate Dante. Yeah. I hate him so much.
He's like, he's such a jerk. He really is.
Clerks 2 really solidified that. I'm in the Randall Park where he's just like, the Randall camp just being like, you have two women fighting over your ugly ass. Yeah. And all you do is complain about how terrible your life is. I'm just like, preach, Randall.
One of those is Rosario Dawson too, by the way.
Like, come on. I was just like, what?
He's betting above his average.
Well, and the funny thing is the other one is Kevin Smith's wife.
Yeah.
So,
that's right. I'd still choose Rosario.
Yeah, like Rosario Dawson's in that equation. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you, man? Like,
exactly.
Come on. Yeah. Like, nothing in Florida is good enough there that you're going to say no to that.
I think he puts a lot of himself in Dante because he's Kevin Smith.
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Because, like, I could see, like, Kevin Smith being that, like, I'm not the most attractive guy, and just being like that kind of thing.
That's right.
It's interesting, and like, God, I can't ever. You know what's so bad is every time I hear "Goodbye Horses," I don't even think of Silence of the Lambs anymore. I think of Clerks 2. Oh man! Now, next question. You actually kind of alluded to this earlier. And I don't know if you'll have a different answer to this, but what's a movie you'd like to see turned into a TV show?
I do have a different answer. And you're either going to love me or hate me for it, because I know it's one of your favorite movies of all time. And I watched it recently within the last month. And I'm going to leave it as a surprise. But I really like the movie.
Mhm.
It's set in World War II, but it's played for its time. It's played a bit light, kind of like a Hogan's Heroes type of thing. Over there, it's not a full-on comedy. You might know where I'm going,
Yeah,
but
I do know where you're going with it.
yeah, I thought it could have been a bit more serious and a bit more poignant. But The Great Escape would be a fantastic 8-part
I'd watch it.
series, I think.
Like
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
I'm watching it.
If they base it off an Australian guy that wrote it, which I didn't know, and seeing Coburn playing Australian was interesting. His accent was okay 30% of the time. But look, I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't. It could have been much more serious and a bit more, I guess, highlighted the actual plight that they were going through. That a bit more of the struggle. So
yeah,
I have a really cool.
Like, you don't see a lot of like they don't portray it as like this is a horrible existence for them. It's just kind of like, I'm just kind of like, we're stuck here. Let's get the hell out of here.
We'll get out. A lot of important stuff is yada yada. Like, it's just glossed over. And I have this really great fantasy where if I was a producer with a lot of money, I would be harassing Ben Stiller, knocking on his door saying, turn this into a series, mate. Read the book. And Ben Stiller, after watching Severance and Escape at Dannemora, imagine Ben Stiller doing this series. It'd be so good. It'd be so good.
Can we make this happen? Do you have money?
I'm right?
Ben Stiller show.
No, I don't have money.
We need to find somebody who does, who also believes this is a good idea and knows Ben Stiller.
Maybe we could just pitch it. Yeah, we could just pitch it. Pitch it to him on Twitter. But
we need to email Apple and just be like, we have an idea.
Yeah.
You already know Ben Stiller, so I'd 100% be down for that. And that's the thing too, because like I wouldn't want them to redo it and just be like, do it the same way. Like, I feel like it could use a little bit more of like a serious and grittier approach to it, because honestly, it's one of those like endlessly watchable kind of war movies, which like I don't know how much it really shows the horrors of war. Like it's really like a couple people do die and it's sad when it happens, but you're kind of like taking it back. Like, it takes a while for you to really feel any weight to the movie.
Yes, and even that might be when the first tunnel, the tunnel they concentrate on, gets found. I'm like, you bastard! And that guard who was kind of on their side, but not like he was a friendly guard. But I didn't think he was going to turn them over. Like when he spilled the coffee, I didn't think he was going to dob them in, but he did. And I was like, that's a bastard move. But anyway, that was his job. So yeah,
Werner. How could you?
Yeah.
Now, what's your favorite film romance?
Yeah, this was actually an easy answer for me, and Seb and Mia from La La Land. I just love that whole. I watched La La Land again a couple of nights ago for the 6th.
I did see that
as well. Yeah, it's my number 3 of all time, and there's just so much about that. It's just so realistic. Is probably the main thing. Like, these two people. I love how at the very beginning, the typical rom-com, these people meet and they hate each other, and then they kind of fall in love. I love how Chazelle shows the instant hate because they're caught in traffic. He sticks his finger up at her because she's sitting there. When it finally starts to move, she bips a horn or whatever, or he bips his horn. And so that's that instant hate, but then they keep bumping into each other, and it kind of gets, the way their relationship evolves is really organic. Like, she kind of takes the piss out of him at that party where he's playing 80s music, and that whole thing's hilarious to me. And their banter is great. It's like banter that you'd see from like a well-written 50s movie, I think. And then they both support each other. They both support each other achieving their dream. And when they achieve their dream, they don't fit into each other's life anymore, and it's just so real. And you can see at the end, that last scene, it gets me every time. Like, when he's playing in his bar with her logo that she designed for him, and he sees her and he plays the song, and then they look at each other and they have that whole fantasy scene of what it could have turned into. If he only didn't take that gig with John Legend. It's just they're the love of each other's lives, but that's the way things work out, is that sometimes the love of your life ends up with someone else. And yeah, and it's gutting, but it's real, and that's why I love about them so much. And they were both adult enough to realize that too.
It was very topical that I asked. It's like asking this question today because I've been doing Sunday top 10s on my TikTok, and like basically I have my fiance pick what genre is going to be this week, and she picked romance films, and La La Land made it on there, but so did Crazy Stupid Love, which I love, and Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone have great chemistry together.
Yeah,
and like there's no surprise that they killed it together in La La Land.
It's Bogart and Bacall of the time, right?
It really works out for them, and like I'd be more than happy to see them as an on-screen couple again at some point, because that would make one for. Because they had Gangster Squad too.
Yeah, I've never seen Gangster Squad because I've never heard a good thing about it. But Crazy Stupid Love is something I sneakily love. I think that's a great film. I love that, and that little twist that happens is like, oh, okay. It's great.
I did not expect that in that movie. I'm just like, wait a minute. Some of the stuff's still like a little weird, like the whole thing with the son and the babysitter. But like I love Crazy Stupid Love. And I never felt more personally attacked for wearing New Balance in my whole entire life. I have size 15 quadruple E shoes. They make shoes that fit me and they're comfortable. That's so funny. It's just like, what are you in a fraternity? What's with the New Balance? Just chucking them off the balcony. I'm like, those are good shoes. Oh man, they are dad shoes though. I'm not gonna argue that.
I don't wear shoes. I only wear shoes to work. I live in a sunny place. I wear thongs, flip flops. I don't know what you guys call thongs.
There you go. Now, probably, this is one of my favorite questions that have come up for this. It also has some deeper meaning that I'll talk about. But if you're theoretically hired to teach a film class, what films would be in your curriculum?
How long you got left on your clock? How long you got left in your day?
So, like, let's say general gist of what this class would be.
I don't know if I have I would show genre films. So I guess initially if we talk about general gist, I'd like to show films that changed the medium, that changed film, that made it progress even further. So I think there's some films like Citizen Kane, which some of the way films are made, definitely Citizen Kane for obvious reasons, but for me, the way the films are made, it changed the way films are made, is what I'm trying to say. Notorious, there's a shot in there that I've explained before to you that Hitchcock does with the crane camera and the one shot. And saw a bit of that in Stage Fright last night when I watched that. Some incredible directing choices. Jaws, just for how, more so for the backstory on how a great director is really a problem solver, and the way Steven Spielberg solved problems in making that movie. Pulp Fiction, that changed the genre. That invented a genre pretty much in the 90s. There were so many rip-offs of and some pretty good movies come out after Pulp Fiction that tried to copy it. There's also some bad ones. 1917 for that entire one shot. A film that I watched recently, a Japanese film called Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes. That would be a fantastic, just the way that film is made, the way it's structured, the planning that must have gone behind that is
insane.
Bonkers. It's bonkers.
I still don't know if I can wrap my head around how they made all of the TV and the TV and the TV and the TV work. I'm just like,
it's phenomenally planned.
Mm-hmm.
You got to respect the process for that film. It's people. If any people watching this, check it out because it's
100%.
Just look for it. It'll blow your mind. And Avatar, even though Avatar is generic story-wise, it still changed the medium.
Changed James Cameron's life.
Yeah. Well, it's going to change all our lives with Avatar Central. Just films like that, I guess. I mean, I have a huge list, genre-wise, what I would choose. Like some of my favorites that really probably could go to one of your earlier questions about what films you'd show someone who's never seen a film. So I'd like to show some good Asian cinema as well, because I've been getting into a lot of Japanese and Korean cinema the last 12 months, and there's so much great stuff out there if you just bother to read some subtitles. Don't let it turn you off from a great experience. Like I watched Shoplifters recently.
Oh, nice.
When we're talking about themes, I did watch a whole lot of Japanese movies over a whole week period. Like some of it was anime. Then you have Drive My Car, which, even though it's not a film I would say is for everyone, but everyone I know that's watched it has loved it.
Yeah.
Okja, I love Okja. I adore that more than I think most people. What else have we got in here?
I know Snowpiercer blew my mind when I watched that for the first time. I just so happened like, this looks really cool, and it could not find it in a theater anywhere near me, but I found it on VOD. That was one of the first movies I ever rented on VOD.
Wow.
And just sitting there in my now fiance, she was my girlfriend at the time, her living room at home, and just sitting there like, what is this movie?
Bonkers, isn't it? That's great, right?
Oh, Bong Joon-ho.
Bong Joon-ho, he's the modern master. He's the modern, even though he doesn't really do suspenseful movies, but for me, he's the modern Hitchcock for me. Like he's so, I don't think he's ever failed. I don't think I know he's only brought out 6 or 7 movies, and I have his box set, but none of them are bad. None of them are bad.
We're very lucky. We're very lucky cinephiles out here with some of the filmmakers making movies today, because he's definitely one of them.
It's a bit of a golden age, I think we're going through, honestly. Like if you look back to you had a golden age in the 50s and so forth. The 60s was a different decade altogether. We're going through another one, a bit of a renaissance, I think, with our filmmakers.
I think, and that's the thing, the mass. We're getting so much film that you're just bound to find amazing filmmakers out there. You're going to definitely have a lot more trash too, which we certainly do.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, like, I just keep going back to 2019. Like, I just remember sitting and thinking about all the movies that came out that year, just being like, this is amazing. And I think 2022 has the opportunity to be that, because like we have Scorsese, Spielberg, Cronenberg, I think Lynch, Chazelle, like
Bring on Babylon.
Jordan Peele coming out with another film. Like I'm a huge like I love The Northman, Robert Eggers. I love Matt Reeves. I was so excited for Batman and that coming out. And there's like endless other like Greta Gerwig, who I'm a big fan of.
She got another one coming, has she?
When is Barbie coming out? Is that next year?
I don't know.
They literally they released the first stills of Margot Robbie as Barbie.
Oh yes, I saw. Yeah,
and Ryan Gosling's Ken. Is
that right? Oh man, I can't believe I'm so excited to watch a Barbie movie. I can't believe it.
Right? Sorry. Man. That is next year because it does come out the same day Oppenheimer.
Yes.
So like,
yes.
Let's change that. Think about the next year coming. All the movies that are coming out with like Nolan has a new film.
Is there anyone else available in Hollywood to make a movie with Oppenheimer? Because every
single
on the
actor
planet, everyone is in Oppenheimer.
I know it's hard.
I think it'll be a mess.
It's like, can't they hire like a not white person in this movie? I'm like, who do you think worked on the Manhattan Project? Like, at that point in American history, it's not like they had diversity in like government stuff like that. So
as excited as we are for all that cast, it really opens it up to being a mess like an MCU movie where you think, how are they going to fit all these? How are they going to give all these people screen time?
You're gonna have people who didn't even realize they're in the same movie, because that's exactly what happened with Endgame. Like, I think Winston Duke and Anthony Mackie had no idea they were in the same movie.
Oh, really? Yeah, they do that.
It's like,
Gwyneth Paltrow didn't know she was in a Spider-Man movie. She just goes in and films what she's told to film, I guess, right?
And they put it wherever. So, like, that's why I didn't get upset at, like, a bunch of people got upset with her. I'm like, they literally just have them come in and film scenes. They have, I can guarantee you, they have no idea exactly what movie that's going to actually be.
Yeah, that's like, thanks for the day. Here's your check. No worries, mate. It's like,
goodbye.
Yeah.
They got to do what they got to do. Now,
straight to the bank.
There are a lot of interesting films that you brought up, and I'm sure we'll talk about them in the future. Now, in terms of wrapping things up, how I always do on this show is my guest gets to ask me a question. So, Adam, what would you like to ask the Wasteland Reviewer?
I was thinking about this. I was actually planning for this question for the first time ever. I guess I'm going to ask you a kind of a selfish question because I want to talk about mine as well. But what's the best movie you think you've seen this year?
So I was just talking about this earlier today, and it's a 3-horse race. Easy. Okay. And, like, I definitely like it even more than I think most people, but I absolutely love The Batman. And I think that is my number one film as of right now. But that was hard after I left Everything Everywhere all at once to be like, this has to be one, right? And I'm like, but I love The Batman so much. And then, like, The Northman's like right under them. But, like, that's a thing. I think with like we literally just said all the things that are going to be coming out, but what's going to be Everything Everywhere all at once?
In my opinion, nothing. Nothing. So The Batman, I was keen for The Batman too, and I watched and I loved it when I was watching the cinema. It was 5 stars, and I couldn't give it anything less. I watched it again maybe 4 nights ago, and it did lose some of its luster on its second watch because you can just see things that you're not getting the wool pulled over your eyes as much on your first watch. So The Batman did lose a bit. I do not think anything for me will beat Everything Everywhere all at once this year. I don't think that can be bettered. Sitting in the cinema watching that, having tears in my eyes for pretty much the entire last hour. I mean, I have a teenage daughter, and it's not the movie you think it's going to be at any point.
Absolutely not.
It's every movie. The title is so apt for this film. It is everything, and it's everywhere all at once. It really is. The way that Daniels construct that movie is just mind-blowing. And it's because it came out so early, I know it's not going to be picked up for awards or anything, and it's going to be heartbreaking, but
it's going to be an absolute travesty if that doesn't win Best Original Screenplay. Like, how can't you? Like, that is like the definition of like what Best Original Screenplay. Because like, if we get to the end of the year and like my guess is Nope, just going out on a limb there, aren't nominated for Original Screenplay because like it's Jordan Peele and like it's definitely going to be like, especially after he got one for Get Out, but like how can you not show this movie? Like, I want to see Michelle Yeoh get nominated for Best Actress. Like,
Short Round is great too, right?
I couldn't believe that was him. When I found that out later, I'm just like, wait a minute.
I know. So good.
So there's like, and everything else that I've watched this year are like, because like I think I'm up to like 250.
I looked, 260 something, because I checked what I'd watched, and I thought, I know Shane's going to have seen more than me, because I've watched a lot.
And like, it's an easy, like, these are the top 3. And like, this year, especially, I haven't given out a whole lot of 5s, like, at all. I've seen like, 260 something films, and I think I've given out 3 or 4. I think
Mhm.
I love The House, that Netflix
Oh,
anthology movie.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh
great
my
pick.
God, that blew my mind. That
It's
first
very good.
story, like that first story terrified me. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see a whole movie of a stop motion horror movie like this. And then that second one, I don't think I felt uncomfortable on that level since the third act of Mother. Because
Yeah,
like
right.
that was one of the
Oh,
most unbearable like sequences of a film to sit through was Mother in a theater in that third act because like I just felt so anxious. I'm just like, stop.
that's the Bong Joon movie, right?
No, the Darren Aronofsky one.
Oh, that mother. Right. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that third act went like sideways. I'm just like, and like she's running around the house being like, stop breaking this, and all these people are just breaking things. I'm like, why are you
Yeah.
breaking things? Like I thought I was gonna have like a panic attack in the theater because I'm just like, I can't. And like Kristen Wiig's like shooting people in the back of the head, people are eating a baby. I'm just like,
Yeah.
what is this madness? Like
Yeah. That's a
that
great
level
allegory. That movie.
of that level of anxiety is what I started to feel in that second part of the house because I'm just like
Yeah. Okay.
with the mice and stuff. I'm just like, what
Yeah.
is going on here? And then like it
It's
was so
stressful.
interesting.
Yeah.
The third one was so like somber and like
But what? Yeah.
it
That
was
was
so
to the
different.
floating house.
And that's like those four movies are like on a whole other level in
Yeah.
terms of films I've seen this year. And like I just watched one that got into my top 10 yesterday was Hatching, which is a new Finnish horror
Hmm.
movie from IFC. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. So I definitely recommend that. But like definitely
Okay.
I cannot blame a single human being if they put Everything Everywhere All at Once as their number one film this year because like look at that movie. Like this is what cinema is. Like
I've not
this
looked forward to seeing a movie for the second time so much in my life, and I can't. I'm itching. I'm gonna upgrade my system, get myself a 4K player finally, and buy this on 4K. I want the
plop
steelbook.
that in there.
It's gonna be and that's what I want. Um, yeah, bring it on. I really can't wait.
There you go. But Adam, thank you so much for coming on for a third round here on Lost in the Wasteland. Shamelessly plug whatever you'd like to shamelessly plug for the wonderful people out there.
Yeah. Look. Firstly, thanks for having me on again. It's always a pleasure. Thanks for letting me rant and offer some opinions and talk about movies any time. The only thing you can really get me on because I've been banned from Twitter because I abused some people I didn't abuse anyone to be honest. But anyway, don't worry about Twitter. Letterboxd at Kerbrider, KERBRIDER.
What did you do to make Elon Musk mad at you?
We're on YouTube. We can swear, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I said someone was being a cunt, and they were. So the Twitter bots don't like that word, so they just banned me straight away. So
That's because
and I'm
they
not
don't
doing
understand Australia.
That's exactly right. It's such a common word. Like it's a term of endearment.
That's the
down
thing,
here.
because if you say that in America, you're like,
I know you people hate it.
I've heard my brother
culture.
call somebody that to their face. I'm just like, oh no.
It can be it can be used maliciously, but it's not here. It's like doesn't matter. It's like saying mate, g'day mate. It's like g'day. It's the same thing.
Yeah. See, they don't understand cultural differences. Thanks, Twitter.
No, that's it.
It's like,
all good. Look, I'm not heartbroken that I'm not on Twitter. Honestly, I don't go on there much anyway. So. Letterboxd, I'm pretty prolific. I've watched 169 this year, but and I review everything I do. So not deep reviews, just thoughts.
I like checking them out. So
yeah, cool. Thanks. You need to review yours. Sorry, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but you need to put reviews on yours, or at least link to your YouTube videos on them. Because I see yours, I'm like, I want to know what Shane thinks without having to watch all of his videos. But even if you link to your videos, you should link to your videos.
See, you know what's funny? Because like I didn't used to link my Instagram either until my friend Jim pointed out. It's like you can link that in your story. I'm like, that's a good idea, and I started doing that. So I might do that with my Letterboxd, is at least like drop my YouTube link when it debuts so that it's in there. I am legitimately going to do that. I appreciate the feedback.
No, I was going to mention that so long ago, and I don't know why I hadn't. But you just made me think of it again.
Hey, I didn't think of it. Doing it all this time.
I see other people doing it. I see other people. Rob does it. I see other people I follow do it. So, Shane should be doing this. That's how you get your subscribers up, mate. Get monetized.
I'm so close. I got like over 750 now. I'm like, I need less than 250 to get monetized. I'm like, give me that YouTube money.
I'm watching. And you need 1,000, do you? I'm watching you grow. It's good to see. I love it.
I've been so excited lately. I've hit like a weird couple weeks on it, but like I've made a lot of growth this year, so I'm pretty excited about it. So
yeah, it's good.
But I'm sure you'll be back on again. So, and we'll have more fun talking about movies. I know you'll at least be on for a couple of the Spielberg ones, and maybe even more because I still have some open spots that I'll be hounding people about. So
yeah, there's a couple on my wait list that I need to watch of his. So yeah, I could do that. Bridge of Spies. Maybe chalk me up for that.
You know what? I don't think anybody did pick that one. Nobody did.
No, it was one of the ones. So chalk me up for that.
You have been
give me an excuse to watch it. Cool.
And that's right around Thanksgiving. Year. So it'll be in November.
Cool. I've got some time.
Yeah, you have plenty of time because I'm going to literally be doing this until like the start of the new year. Like I'm going to be going into January with my first two Welcome to the Wastelands being The Fableman and Killers of the Flower Moon, catching up with those two new ones for Scorsese and then Spielberg. And then I guess at some point in October, maybe starting up, picking the next one. I got some time. I got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Because so much Spielberg. But Adam, thank you so much. And thank all of you out there for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.